Thank you. Thank you. For you gentlemen out there, Virlata, we get a kick, all of us alumni. Whenever we see each other out in a community or on a professional basis, we always greet each other with Virlata. So we got to keep that thing going. I wanted to thank the Alumni Association for inviting me and coming up with my name. That was pretty quick. And also for the school staff for being such a gracious host today. As was mentioned, I graduated from Damien in 1972. Those are the rough and tumble days, but we won't go into that. I'm gonna talk about my journey. This is where I got, how I got to where I'm at today. But it's not necessarily gonna apply to you, but you can see all the different choices that people can make and end up in places that they aspire to. And I'm gonna use one of my favorite shows. This is a show that came out in, I think in the early 90s. It's called Pulp Fiction. Anybody ever saw that show? Mommy, daddy? Yeah, okay. Two guys, two hippies over here, me and him. But it's a show by Quentin Tarantino. Has John Travolta, Bruce Willis, Samuel L. Jackson, Irma Thurman, and it's a kind of a really neat show. And the reason why I like that show was that the show started at the end. You start the movie at the end of the end of the story, and then it went back to the beginning. So that's how I'm going to start, and my speech is going to parallel that. Currently, as was mentioned, I just got announced or appointed as the fire chief for the Honolulu Fire Department, and it's a real awesome experience for me. I don't know, many of us are not aware, but the Honolulu Fire Department is the 12th largest fire department in the country. This is a huge fire department, 1,200 members. Most, as you go through the mainland, you see different fire departments in different cities. They have just a little town with its own mayor, police chief, fire chief. So that's the makeup of the majority of the 35,000 fire departments in the country. It's all like small little entities. Whereas Honolulu, we protect the entire island of Oahu, so it's a big fire department. It's one of only 150 fire departments in the country that's an accredited fire department. Just as a high school is accredited or a hospital would be accredited, only 150 actually in the world fire departments are accredited, and you have to go through an exhaustive process to attain that accreditation. So even that, like I said, 35,000 fire departments, you only got 150 that can claim that they're accredited. So if you see the fire trucks, there's a little symbol on every fire truck, a round signal that tells about our accreditation. Just prior to, actually I only been in the job 4 days. So I act like I've been there forever, but I have. I actually spent 32 years in the Honolulu Fire Department, and I worked my way up to assistant chief, which is on the top. There's only the fire chief above us, a deputy and a fire chief. So I worked my way to the top, but I took the back route. 20 months ago, I took the job as a fire chief at the Pacific Missile Range facility on Kauai. And if you don't know, this is an awesome facility just to have it in our state. We do a lot of missile testing and a lot of advanced technology out at that base. And it's for our missile defense for our country. And I didn't realize how important the military is to our well-being until I started working there. And myself in a position to be one for those 20 months. And it's actually prepared me to be the fire chief of the Honolulu Fire Department. So I think I ended up in a good place, and I think the community is with a better person as a chief because of my experience out there. Let me talk a little bit about myself. And before I forget, those of you that are considering a career in the military, that's an awesome idea. I had a chance to work with the people in the Navy. That's a Navy base on Kauai, and it's just top-notch people, really intelligent, I see how the commander runs his meetings and everything. It's really proud of our armed service. So if you're picking that career, that's a great choice. Again, this is my path. Some of the things about me, I'm married, I have 2 children. Unfortunately, my son didn't come to Damien, he went somewhere else. But my daughter did go to Sacred Heart, so kept it in the Catholic family. Some of my hobbies, I like to train Kempo Karate. I'm a 5th degree black belt. I also like stand-up paddling. That's my new passion for the last 2 or 3 years. So I've been doing a lot of that on Kauai. I had a lot of time there, but hopefully I can get back into the groove here. Let me just start about my journey. I started way back in 1968. Some of your parents weren't even born. But I came from Pro City. I attended public school in Pro City. And fortunately, my brother, who's 5 years older than I am, attended Damien. I guess my parents, like most of the parents here, my parents felt that education was something to invest in, and I'm really, really glad that they did. So my brother attended Damien, and it was only fitting that the younger brother also attended. So at first, there's a lot of skepticism. Oh, we're going to, at that time, all-boys school with single gender. But it didn't take very long. Once we got in class, people were coming, freshman class, people were coming from all over the island. And we really bonded really quickly. We had to, because we were thrusted into this environment, and we had to really survive. And I'll talk a little bit about the survival part. I came from public school, like I said, and I come into high school. Now what do? So I tried to get involved as much as I could. And I started playing in the band. I don't think even Gary knew that. Look at my alumni partner here from '72, but I played clarinet in the school band. And then somebody said, hey, there's tryouts for football. I said, oh, that sounds like fun. So I tried out and I got on the JV football team. I think there were only 2 freshmen in the JV team at that time, and one was me. And I'm like, I think it was 100 pounds, even soaking wet. I was so small and skinny, but I made the team. I had fun on JV football. Then I went out for freshman basketball, played basketball. And as you know, or if you don't know, we didn't have a gym. We had to go all over the island to find a gym to practice at. So we would practice at Kalakaua Gym. They would bus us to Manoa in the valley. We would use a church gym there. But we didn't have our own facility. So it was a struggle to practice and make practices, but we made it happen. The other thing that was unique and I was unfamiliar with as a freshman is, and I don't know if they still do it, but they broke us up into different colors. Do they still do that? Yeah? Okay, so you got the red, that's all the future doctors. Then you got the green, that is, I think that's Gary, I agree. All the football players are green, so they segregate you by, I guess, your abilities, academic abilities. So I ended up in red. Who knows? But I wasn't like the smart red, I was like the struggling red. So I had to work harder than most people in the red class. And till today, a lot of our discussions at our informal gatherings about the green guys against the red guys, and then we had blue and white as well. So there's always still that friction 40 years later. Some people just don't let go, those green guys, they just don't let go. We didn't pick the groups. Sophomore year, I played more sports. I went out for JV football, and then I played JV basketball. Junior, senior year, I moved up to the varsity in both of those sports. So I really had a great time playing. I still remember my number, 82 for football and number 3 for basketball. I think I even stole my jersey, but the brothers aren't here, the ones that were there at the time. I still have them in my closet. They're like about this big. That's how, well, I'm still skinny, but that's how skinny I was. But from sports, you learn a lot of things. I know some of you are involved in sports, but it really is going to prepare you for the future and your future life and your future careers, because like sports, getting into a career takes a lot of hard work, takes a lot of dedication. You got to work as a team. Look at a fire department, right? Everything is based upon a team concept. No matter where you go, if you go in a fire truck, there's always 5 people on a truck. If you go into our dispatch center, there's 5 people. So there's always a hierarchy and a team concept. Also, and more important, that athletics bring to you is your interpersonal dynamics, is trying to get along with people. You know, everybody's part of the team, and you have to look at the greater good of the team, the greater mission. And it's not really about yourself, but it's about the team being successful. So same thing in life. When you get to the workplace or you go into college, it's about the same thing. Then we start talking about academics at Damien. And you probably heard other people say, oh, you know, Damien prepared me for the future, but you know what? For me, I truly believe that I wouldn't be standing here today in my capacity if it wasn't for Damien. And I'm gonna tell you why. Chemistry, right? Took chemistry and like, oh, I don't have to take chemistry, but look, in my line of work, the hazardous materials team, everything is about chemistry. We have to take another class of chemistry if you want to be a hazmat tech. So chemistry came in handy as a firefighter. We took biology. It's like, again, why biology? As an emergency medical responder, there's a lot of biology in that curriculum. Mathematics. If you don't know, a fire department, they have a position called an engineer on every fire truck. And the engineer on the truck is the person that determines how much water pressure is needed at the other end. So at the fire truck, he's manipulating the gauges, but he's actually determining how much pressure should be at the guy with the end of the nozzle. So if it goes uphill, he has to give more pressure. If it goes downhill, he has to back up on the pressure. And depending on the length of hose, there's friction in the hose as you're trying to push water to the hose. So all of this has to be calculated. And that's the mathematics that you guys have learned at Damien. And that gave us the ability to grasp these concepts. You can't say enough about English. I just came from Kauai, and anybody from Kauai? Okay, good, I can say something. You gotta learn how to write. You got to learn how to write. I don't care what's your future endeavor. The writing at Damien really prepared me for the future. I have to write letters. We have to write research papers. We have to write standard operating procedures. So people rely on you in the work that you're doing to write. So Damien had really prepared me for the future by giving me a lot of writing assignments. And at the time, you know, I didn't like it, just like you guys, but I would see my friends that attended public school, they didn't have any homework. Whereas, you know how many books we carry at the end of the day? I hope they still do that, but you know, I would carry 3-4 books home every day. So all of the work that I did at Damien, the volume of homework prepared me for the future. Ask your parents how difficult it is at the workplace. There's always more work than time in a day. So Damien gave me good study habits. I knew how to prioritize. I knew how to juggle a lot of balls in the air at the same time. You had 4 or 5 classes, and you had homework every night in every class. So it's the same in the workplace. And those study habits and how Damien prepared me, I only took 3 years to get my bachelor's degree. And that's pretty amazing. I mean, I'm not bragging, but you know, when I went to college, I had 2 choices. I had Eastern Washington State, I had an academic scholarship, but I also had a basketball scholarship in UH Hilo. So I figured closer Hilo and less money for my parents, so I took the Hilo. I didn't last very long, I wasn't that good. I was never that good, I don't know how I got the scholarship. But I went there and you know, I started taking classes, and college was so much easier than Damien. You believe that? Yeah, that's the truth. That is the absolute truth. The work that you guys doing now at Damien, your freshman year in college, you guys not gonna have any problems at all, guarantee. I mean, you know, full-time student is 12 to 15 credits. Each class is like three credits. I took 24 credits my first semester, and I didn't have a problem because you take your core requirements during the first couple of years. So I tell you, your parents have made a great selection in choosing Damien, and the teachers have really prepared you for college, if that's your choice. After I graduated from college, I had a degree in, I didn't know what to take, and you guys are gonna struggle with this as well. You know, you're only 18 years old, you don't know what your future will hold. So I figured, you know, maybe I'll get into business. So I got into accounting, so I graduated as an accountant. And I figured, you know, no matter what kind of business I get in, I'm gonna have to know balance sheets and earnings statements. So I got into accounting and graduated from college, like I said, in 3 years. I graduated real early. Figured I'd get a jump on my friends, I get the job before them. But I didn't like accounting. And that's just me, guys. So if some of you are in accounting, good luck. But for me, I didn't want to stay, I didn't like staying in the office all the time. So a friend of mine said, hey, you'll take the fire department test. I'm like, oh, fire, what's that all about? So I did, I took the test, and I guess I scored good enough to get invited to the first recruit class, and I got in the fire department. And the message here is that your learning never stops, never, ever. Still today, I still take classes. Even with 33 years in the fire department, I still try to self-improve. So I got into the fire department with a bachelor's degree in accounting, and you take some ribbing for that. You know, the typical firefighter doesn't have a college degree, but that has since changed, guys. 99% of the firefighters that we're hiring have college degrees now, master's degrees. We even have some with doctorates. Got into the fire department, and you know, I wanted to improve my abilities as a firefighter. So I went back, I have a bachelor's, I went back to Honolulu Community College to get an associate's degree. But I got an associate's degree in fire science, in the line of the business that I was in. So I got that degree, and you know, in the fire department, it's about, they call it E&E, education and experience. So when you go up for promotion, they have a mathematical calculation where they will add these two components. So if you have a bachelor's degree, then you get more points than someone with an associate's degree. So if you have an associate's and a bachelor's, then you get more points on the this E. And then they add the number of years, because you don't only want somebody with academic experience, but you want somebody who has been in the field for a while. So they add your actual experience in the fire department, put those together, and then that's how they promote. So I had a lot of this E, I had the education part, had very little of the other E, but that carried me enough to get promoted really quickly. So in 4 years, I went to firefighter 2, in 6 years, I went to firefighter 3, and then finally in 8 years, which is the very minimum for captain, I was a 1-star captain. That means I had less than 10 years and I was already a captain. And it was all about the education that I attained. So no matter what career path you pick, your education is always going to help you no matter what. Then as a captain, I was a captain for 10 years. And some other day, if we have some, well, not the guys, but the parents, some beers, then we'll talk about why I decided to move on. I had a couple people pass away in my crew. So I decided I wanted to be a chief officer to make a difference. So I went back and I went to get my master's degree at the University of Hawaii. And I got my master's degree in public administration. And sure enough, I did get promoted to battalion chief. But it didn't stop there, guys. You gotta set personal goals, you gotta set professional goals. Even attaining the level of battalion chief, I wanted more. I wanted to be better. So the National Fire Academy, it's in Emmitsburg, Maryland. It's an academy for firefighters, leadership academy that people from all over the country go to. So I signed up for this program called the Executive Fire Officer. And what that is almost even worse than my master's program, where you go for 4 years, and each year you write a thesis, you write a research paper. And that's where the Damien writing came in, because I could write fairly well. But you write different projects, you write thesis. So some of the projects that I worked on became reality in the fire department. Like one of them is about wellness fitness, and you want to make sure that your firefighters are healthy, not only physically, but also eating the right foods. So I wrote a paper on that, how do we get better fit? One of the papers that I'm most proud of is my last paper in the 4th year. I wrote a paper on recruiting and retaining women in the fire service. Because we need diversity in the fire service. So at the time, we only had 4 women. Out of 1,200 firefighters, there were only 4 women in the fire department. And irrespective of how you feel about women, they do play a major part in the service that the fire department provide. So I wrote the thesis. We turned it into a workshop called Can You Take the Heat? We started targeting recruitment, started going out to women clubs and youth sports teams, trying to get more women interested in the role as a firefighter. And we've done it ever since. So we've done about 6 or 7 of those workshops. So we went from 4 women to 13 women. And that's amazing. That's like a 300% increase in a short period of time. So hopefully we can maintain that. So women in the audience, there's always a place for you in the fire department. Okay, I wrote the EFO paper, and then I didn't get promoted, but I got selected, and I got selected to go to Harvard. So it's a really grueling process to get selected. The fire service selects 2 people every year to go to this Harvard program, and I was selected 1 year. And I was so proud of myself. Somebody from Hawaii, there's only one other person in the history of a fire service that ever went to that program, and I was the second one. So I was really proud of myself to go. And that was an eye-opener for me to be interacting with people from all over the country at the Harvard University, the John F. Kennedy School of Business. Then I did get promoted. After taking that course, I got promoted to assistant chief. Enough about me. How about me? No. I'm not here trying to brag. I'm just telling you my story. And I want to bring it all back home, but it's all about your parents sending you to Damien. You got to make the best out of it. And they've sacrificed a lot for you to be here today. The good study habits is going to help you. The meeting deadlines, when they gave you assignments, you had to meet those deadlines. Finishing what you start. You see, everything that I did is I set a goal for myself, and little by little, I attained each goal. Then I went for a next goal. Setting professional goals, and then we get to networking. These people here, these other seniors are going to be your future network. In my class, we have doctors, we have judges, engineers, we got successful business people, we got airline pilots, we got politicians. Just tell you a quick story. My son, when he was about to be born, my wife's doctor went out of town, so we had to get a substitute doctor to deliver my son. So we go into the delivery room. Lo and behold, one of our 72 classmates is the OBGYN doctor, Ken Persky. So he's like, hey, so we end up, hey, what happened? And my wife's like, hey, how about me trying to give birth here? But we're just like we didn't leave each other, but we got people in the community. That's just 72. If you look out into the greater community, the fire chief of the Federal Fire Department is a Damien grad, Glenn DeLaura. He just retired about a month ago. As you know, the police chief, Louis Kelaoha, is a Damien grad. We had a cabinet meeting with the mayor last week, Friday, and lo and behold, the mayor had me come, because I was brand new, had me stand up and say where I live and what school I went to. Sure enough, people in the audience, there were Damien grads there. One was the Royal Hawaiian Band director, is from Damien as well. So people are out there in the community. Guys, everything that you learned at Damien, one of the most important things are the role models that you interacted with. The teachers, the brothers, the coaches that helped you. develop yourself and your personalities and your fellow students as well. But most of all, it's your parents. And I know you guys hear this a lot, I got it, he doesn't know what he's talking about, but that's the truth. Your parents are key to your future. I don't care how many girlfriends you had, she might not be there next week, but your parents are always gonna be here for you. So, I hope there's not girlfriends in the room. But really guys, your parents they've been with you from the beginning, they'll be with you towards the end. So I think parents, you guys made an excellent choice in sending your sons and now daughters to Damien, and I truly, truly believe that I wouldn't be anywhere near standing in front of you today if it wasn't for Damien, and I'm gonna take that to my grave. So that's the end of my speech, but I wanted to tell you a little bit of secrets because, you know, like I said, I'm the fire chief and I've been the chief for like 4 days. So I'm gonna make some tea. And I'm considering the purple fire trucks. So we already got the yellow, right? The mauve and gold. So we just need the mauve. Well, but one of the things that I am going to enact, and that's going to be from tomorrow. From tomorrow on, all firefighters will wear this helmet. All right, thank you, folks. Hope you have a nice day.
Thanks, Manny. Great job.
Thanks.